Hello and welcome back to art class. Today we're going to be wrapping up our watercolor spheres. Okay, so today you're going to need a few things. You're going to need at least one, possibly two pieces of white paper. You're going to need, I chose a cup because I just need a circle stencil, and a cup provides two different sizes usually of that, just in case I can figure out which size I want. Sharpie is probably one of the things you want, or a black colored pencil will work. Either way, you're going to want a regular pencil, you're going to want colored pencils, and you're going to need your sheet from last week. The one I'm actually using from is the marker one. The marker one had much better colors in it than my watercolor one, so I'm going to use the one I like better. Okay, first step is pretty easy. You will need a pair of scissors and some glue. So there's actually a lot of materials you need for this second part. All right, so what you're going to do is take your cup and you're going to trace it. You don't want to trace it right in the middle. You're wanting to get about 4 or 5 circles out of this. If you have trouble seeing your pencil, like me, I'm having a little bit of trouble seeing my pencil, so what I'm going to do is actually take my marker and make it so I can see it. Kind of done with the cup, you can just set it off to the side. The marker you can put down. Then you need to cut these out. Next, we should have 4 or 5 of these circles. They're very colorful, look great. Next, what you're going to do is we need to put in a cross-hatch shadow. And I got a scrap piece of paper here. And remember, cross hatching is basically, we did hatching with the mountains, which was just straight lines. Cross hatching is the next step where you're doing it going the other way. So you'll have a kind of this waffle or X tic-tac-toe kind of pattern. Okay? So what you're going to do is, if you're not sure, you do this in pencil first. If yours is as dark as mine, pencil can be problematic. What I'm going to do is I am going to take my marker, and it's not going to be straight up and down like this. It's actually got to be curved because I want this to look like a curved object or 3D object. So what I'm going to do is, I'm not quite halfway. I'm a little bit closer to one side, and I'm going using just the tip of my marker. And notice that the lines kind of get closer together. And then what I'm going to do is I'm going to go the other way. Like that. All right, so I'm going to do it again. I got to do it on each one of these. So a little bit past the halfway point. The ends all kind of try to go together in one of these. Now I have my good. Next thing I need to do is, these are going to be spheres, so they need a kind of like ball or bubble. They need a highlight. So this is where a scrap piece of paper or one of your other pieces of paper comes in handy. I'm going to use one of my clean sheets here. And I'm just going to cut off, in fact, I'm just going to fold it in half. I'm not even going to use a whole sheet, so I don't want to waste it. Is go in and draw in a highlight. I like to use this particular shape. It's curved on the top and bottom, they match, and then they're just straight ends. Some people might want to rounded version of that. Okay? It just needs to be bent or curved slightly. That way it follows the curve of the sphere. Okay? Either one will work, but you need to be consistent. So if you figure out one that you like, you draw it out, then what you're going to do is you're going to use it to trace the other ones. So first thing I'm going to do is I am going to, since I used black for that, I'm going to also outline this. Okay. Next, I'm going to put it on the opposite side, shadow, highlight, and I'm going to see if it's about the right size. I think I'm pretty close. I do need to trim some a little bit. The corner bothers me, so I'm going to trim it. Okay, I'm pretty happy with that. Now I'm not going to glue it yet. What I'm going to do is, because I know this one will work, I'm going to go in and I need 4 more of them. So I'm just going to use this as my stencil. Okay, now you need to look at your spheres and you need to decide which ones you want to use right away. You can use up to 4, 5's probably too much, and I already can see that, like this one here, I'm not a big fan of the line that showed up right here in this one, so that one's going to be out, but I do like these ones. You do need to use at least 3 for sure for the next part. Okay, so I like this one for sure. I like this one, and this one. So I'm going to use these 3 for sure. I'm going to keep the other ones just in case my picture idea changes, or maybe one of them gets damaged in the process. So I'm going to put them off to the side there. This is where you need your blank piece of paper. This one blank piece of paper may be too small for your drawing, depending on what you want your drawing to be. So you could, if you need a bigger piece, you could glue 2 pieces of paper together. I know that some people have been using sketchbooks for their picture, and maybe you have a really big sketchbook and then you can use the whole paper instead. It just kind of depends on what you're wanting to do. Okay? So what we need to do is you need to use your spheres, and they need to be part of the picture. Well, what do you mean by that? Well, what I mean by that is you're going to need to come up with a picture of some kind of object or place or thing that uses your spheres. Now, they could be in the place of other things. So here's an example. Maybe I want them to be Christmas ornaments. Okay, so I would draw maybe part of a tree, maybe turn my paper this way and draw part of a tree, and then draw the hook that goes on them, and then color in the back. This is coloring is going to be done with colored pencil. Maybe I want a clown's face. So here, like this, let's go with these 2. They're closer together. So these 2 kind of match. So this might be the eye, this might be the nose, and then you draw the thing, the rest of the clown that goes with it. If you wanted a whole face, maybe you needed a bigger piece of paper. It just kind of depends on what you're going to do with the spheres. You're just using the spheres in place of circles or other spheres in your thing. Maybe you want it to be a Skittles or something like that. Maybe that's what these are. Or maybe these are bubble gums, so they might be in a bubble gum machine. There's all kinds of things. You just kind of have to think about it. So that's where, you know, that scratch paper can come in really handy, is you can sketch out a couple ideas, write down a couple ideas just to get going. I already have in mind something I want to do, and I'm going to use one of these as a stencil so that I can place exactly where it's going to go. I'm not going to glue it right away because I don't want to end up messing it up, but I'm going to do a monster truck. So I need a sphere here. Just trace it. That way I can do all the coloring and all that without any fear of damaging the spheres before I glue them down. Okay, so these are going to be my wheels, and then I'm going to have it hauling. Okay, once you get done with your background, as you notice, I did go over the lines in the circle because, again, it doesn't matter because they're going to be covered up right there. And so then I can kind of start placing my spheres where I think they should go, figure out which one. You want your highlights to actually go all the same direction so it makes sense, and I think I'm going to have my... yeah. Good, then you're going to glue it down. Probably want to use as little glue as possible. Okay, so now I have a complete picture. My 3 spheres are in there. If your picture needs 4 or 5 spheres, you're more than welcome to use the other ones, but you do need to come up with a picture that uses at least 3 of them. Remember, your paper size is dependent on what your drawing is, so if you need bigger paper, then use bigger paper. I do have one other picture I want to show you, just because I want to give you another example of a way to go. It kind of goes with the theme of this time of year. I have obviously a kind of a holiday picture. My tree, I'm not even trying to show the whole tree. I only have a portion of it so that I can have my ornaments, and then I have a little bit of a background there, obviously you can see. So it gives you kind of another idea for what you can do. I do not want to see exact copies of what I have just shown you. If you want something similar, that's fine, but you got to make it different and change it up so it looks like your work, not just an exact copy of mine. Okay. When you're done, upload a photo of them to your picture Google Classroom, and I will see you in a couple weeks. If you are not